To do it yesterday, and I didn't get an opportunity to catch up with Vera Twomey. Now, I want to know how she got on since last Friday's meeting in Dublin, and how she got on then with her own paediatric neurologists, because some of the latest update I had with this was that the granting of a license, say for the likes of Vera Twomey for her daughter Ava, needs to be endorsed by a consultant who is responsible for the management of the patient and is prepared to like monitor the patient and the effects of the treatment of the cannabis oil over time. So you'll get a license granted if you've got a consultant on board who's willing to do that. The HSE said that it is crucial that the granting of any license takes due care and consideration of the potential unintended consequences associated with the prescription of cannabis. We must remember it is a Schedule 1 controlled drug and will be used for medical purposes. So the potential unintended consequences need to be watched. So one would think that that would be easy enough to do, right? That you'd get the license and that you'd have a neurologist on board, and the neurologist would make sure that everything was okay and would be monitoring going forward. Let's see how Vera's been getting on over the past few days since her historic walk to Dublin. Vera, good morning. What's the update, my friend?
Well, you know, we went off when we had the meeting with Simon Harris, and the outcome of that was that they stated that we had 5 options. Just so that people might know, I suppose the 5 options included: firstly, going to see our public consultant; secondly, going to see a private consultant for assistance; thirdly, to look into the treatment abroad scheme; fourthly, the compassionate access programme; and the fifth and only alternative at the end of it all is legislation. The first thing that we did was we got in touch there was a meeting with the public neurologist, and that neurologist stated that they didn't have enough experience surrounding medicinal cannabis to oversee the treatment. There was remarks as well regarding the clinical evidence available, but the outcome was that the neurologist was not able to help us.
Okay. What about a private neurologist?
The private neurologist's response was very supportive. The neurologist was looking for some kind of avenue to help us. They came up with the option of going to Canada with Ava to see a neurologist in Canada who could prescribe medicinal cannabis there, and that Ava would have to go to Canada to see that specialist, and then that we would come home and be overseen in Ireland by that neurologist. Now, the thing is, I'll put it to you this way. If Ava was here in the kitchen, now Ava's gone to school this morning, thank God, and she's in good form today. But if I was to want to go into Macroom to Duns to do a bit of shopping, right, I'd have to look at Ava maybe 2 or 3 separate times to know, is she capable of coming with me?
Yeah.
So there's absolutely no possibility whatsoever that she could go on a long-haul flight anywhere, because she's not stable enough at all.
So the same would be the case for a treatment abroad scheme, would it?
It would. Okay. I mean, I would have concerns as well about taking her on a plane to Europe. But the thing with the treatment abroad scheme, there seems to be some ambiguity surrounding whether or not a treatment with medicinal cannabis would even be possible in Europe, because it would be seen as an experimental therapy.
Right, there's no country at the moment. We're ahead of the others, are we, with regards to legislative change for cannabis oil?
Well, the thing is, there's about 11 countries in Europe now that have varying degrees of legality surrounding medicinal cannabis. So there would be 11, in fact. But my concern with that would be that I had a neurologist in Ireland telling me where to go regarding the neurologist in Canada. Now,
anywhere closer than Canada,
he made me comfortable because that neurologist had confidence in the other one. I am not sure what neurologist I would be approaching in Europe, so I would feel more comfortable getting advice on that for the sake of it.
I thought we were talking about compassionate access.
Oh yeah, the compassionate compassionate access program then, well, I got more clarity on the compassionate access program from the neurologist than I had done ever, since Simon Harris began to talk about rolling it out. They said to me that, you can compare it to, Neil, if your child or my child was diagnosed with cancer and they were taken into the CUH and there was cancer suspected, you'd be moved to Crumlin, or some similar hospital, and you would see a specialist above in Dublin who would, be able to give the neurologist in Cork or give the paediatric specialist in Cork advice on treatment, on medicines, on interaction, on levels. Now, according to the neurologists, they don't have anybody in Ireland to refer to for that advice. There is no specialist in Ireland that has a grounding in medicinal cannabis treatment. So from what I was speaking to them, they were saying to me that they feel that it's very unfair that Simon Harris is putting it at their door.
These are the paediatric neurologists feel that it's unfair.
Yeah.
But you see, they've told us, we spoke to the Department of Health on Friday, and just to sum up, they said that the decision to treat Ava with cannabis treatment, cannabis oil, is now completely with the paediatric neurologists. The HSE says that they have done as much as they can for you and for Ava and can do no more.
They said that. They didn't send that to me at all.
Yeah, that's what we were told. They said that's what they said.
The thing is, the HSE are blaming the neurologists for not being able to prescribe medicinal cannabis for our daughter. But it's completely unreasonable, Neil, because how can the neurologists prescribe medicinal cannabis for Ava when there's no specialist for them to refer to?
That's right. No, I know. That's the brick wall you feel. No, I didn't know. When I said...
What helped me was that if a doctor who had a speciality in neurology was asked to prescribe chemotherapy treatment for a child, how could they do it?
Well, when I say... I know, and that's the...
And it's the same with the cannabis. They're not going to be able to help us. And it's down now. They're the 4 options that are gone. And the only alternative now is for legislation to be brought to bear in this country.
But the same situation, actually, it was the Department of Health that we had a conversation with. Now, the Department of Health is actually separate to the runnings of the HSE, but the Health Department said that they have done as much as they can for Vera and Ava, and it's now up to a paediatric neurologist to take over to move it on. But the same will be said...
Does that mean so that, my daughter is going to continue to have seizures and that my daughter is going to go into a cardiac arrest again and die? Is that what they're saying? Because whatever, pleasant and intellectual way that they put it on their headed paper, that's what it comes down to. Because the neurologists are legally not allowed to move forward. They can't legally move forward. And I have had endless conversations with politicians saying to me that a statutory instrument can be brought to bear to allow the neurologist to prescribe the medicine via the compassionate access program.
I understand. And the
statutory instrument won't create a specialist in the country to allow them to refer to for advice about medicinal cannabis.
Here's what the chief medical officer at the Department of Health said about this, a man by the name of Dr. Tony Holohan. He said that the importance of doctors and pharmacists is integral to safe and effective use. He went on to say that those professionals, through their professional bodies, are part of the establishing the access program for the medicinal use of cannabis, and it's critical that these professionals, through their professional bodies, are considered. What he's saying is...
But their professionalism is at stake if they prescribe a product that they do not have a specialist to refer to. They have built up their careers over the last 10, 20, 30 years, however long it is.
Yeah, they're not going to treat somebody with something that they have no experience of. But can someone not be trained up? For all of the talk over the months that we've been talking about this.
But perhaps we should ask Mr. Holohan.
Yeah, and because time's ticking,
I mean, I'm not going to be able to train somebody up in the use of medicinal cannabis, but the thing is, the HSE, the Department of Health, and Simon Harris are going to have to cooperate. The neurologist that we were talking to, they were making efforts to help us.
And are they upset now, the paediatric neurologists, that they seem to be the ones to be blamed for holding all of this up?
Well, I mean, in fairness, Neil, if someone or some organisation came forward and was pushing the blame at your door, you'd be upset too, I think, wouldn't you?
I think you're absolutely right in that regard. And this also will affect anybody who's going through the effects of chemo, that the drug would also be okay for, or people going through, it's epilepsy and chemo, isn't it?
The three were intractable epilepsy, the side effects of nausea and vomiting as a result of chemotherapy, and the third one was spasms in relation to multiple sclerosis.
And all of those people are also being held up.
If legislation is not brought in to bear now, then none of us are going to get even the limited and unacceptable small group that the HPRA report suggested. None of us are going to get any treatment via the Compassionate Access Programme.
But there's got to be. I mean, you've got to be able to get this license, and there's got to be a paediatric neurologist somewhere in Ireland with overseas experience in this. And
well, I wish they'd contact me.
How does Tristan Cahalane get treatment now?
Maybe you should find that out. I don't know.
Is he being treated with the cannabis oil in Ireland?
I've no comment on that.
Right, you don't know. Okay, I'll find out and see if we could replicate whatever they're doing. I know that Tristan was in Colorado for a long time where the treatment started, but he's home now. So what's next now? Another march?
Well, we're not going to stop, Neil, because my daughter's life is on the line. And I mean, what I would really, really say to people out there is that, please don't give up on Ava, because...
No, we have no intention of it.
Because, I have, I got to Dublin and they kept us inside in the meeting for 5 hours and they just drained the last drop out of me that night. And I just wasn't able to stay. I don't think Gina was able to stay either at the end of it by the time they were finished with us, But,
you just felt let down, I suppose.
Well, you see,
yeah.
they gave us the 5 options that night.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, even though I was looking at them and I was saying, we're going to be lucky if we can get something out of this. But, we know now that none of them have worked. I had to, in a sense, they put me in a position again that I had to walk away to try. But there's nothing left now, and I understand completely that the Compassionate Access Programme is not going to be effective. Because that's coming from the neurologist mouths themselves.
They can't without the training.
Their hands are tied legally and professionally in both senses. So there is going to be an event on the 29th of March above in Dublin, and I know it's hard to travel. I know it's hard to organise things, but there's already Louise is already organising buses to go from Habolog to go up for the evening of the 29th of March. It's advertised as 7 o'clock, but we're trying to get it brought back a little earlier to about 5 o'clock. And anyway, if anybody is coming up, I'll be there all day. I'll stand outside the gate all day if the people will stand with me for Ava, and I'll be proud to stand up there with the people that came up already the last time for us,
Okay, well, let's push that. That's Wednesday the 29th of March, 5 o'clock outside the Dáil.
Yeah.
Support for Cannabis Medicinal Use Regulation Bill protest.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
And I'd really appreciate it if people would share that around the county and around the country and beyond to let people know about it, because what they're doing to us it's completely unjust. If there is a neurologist in this country that's overseeing care, it's absolutely inhumane to not allow Ava access to that assistance. And we need legislation. They're pushing my family to the point where they're offering us nothing.
Yeah.
They want me to go away and to leave them alone, but I can't afford to go away, Neil, and leave them alone, because that little girl is everything to us.
How is she? How's she been since we spoke last?
She had a few seizures. She'd another two now yesterday morning, but she got up and she got on again, and she's good, and she was great today, and she was good enough to go to school. But the worry of this is something terrible.
Has she ever had a seizure in class, Vera?
Yeah, she has. Yeah.
And they're okay with dealing with that?
They would be, because they've got confidence with training that they can get to deal with it, and anyway, they know that all they have to do, even that Ava's in school, it's different to the other children being in school, because you're still worried about her if something would happen. But I have the phone with me all the time, and they can just phone me, and we'll run in and get her as we possibly can. I was wondering if ask people, with Patrick's Day coming up, I don't know, do you know, but the purple is the representative colour for epilepsy. And I know that, it'll be all green and everything, but I wanted to know whether people might carry a little purple balloon just to represent Ava and
good idea.
The urgency of this, because the only way that I can see forward out of this is the support of the people around us, because that's why I was putting out on Facebook. I was hoping that, people could rally together again and give people spins and sit into cars together and come up and, be there with us, because this government don't want to help us at all.
We'll drive that on. We'll drive that. It's a fortnight today, so we'll drive that on every day. I promise you that. Every day. And we'll share it on Facebook, and we'll share it on Twitter, and we'll get other people to pick up on it as well. You have hit a brick wall. There's a license there that will be granted, but they say they can do no more unless you find a pediatric neurologist. That's what
there isn't one.
Yeah.
I know. That's the thing.
I know.
And it's not kind of conspiracy theories or anything like that. They know that I can't get one, and they don't want.
Well, you can get a pediatric neurologist, but not one. Yeah.
They don't want to do it, and they don't want to embrace, Kenny's legislation, which is the way forward. And it's a fright to the Almighty God that legislation is sitting there waiting, and that it could save people's lives.
Yeah, but who would administer who would administer it then? You see, you would need a professional, wouldn't you?
Would, but the thing is, I even got a hint of that from the neurologist, that if the legislation was brought through, it would be legal, and it would be set in the Constitution, and it would be more possible then for them to go and get the training. The Compassionate Access Program, they called it, what did they say? Unviable,
unviable, yeah.
Yeah, and
non-viable.
I'm sitting there, Neil, sitting in a chair listening to this, and then I have politicians ringing me saying, well, they can't say that because a statutory instrument can be used, and it's a form of legislation. But that doesn't give us what we need for our child at all.
Yeah, today, yeah. All right,
Listen, I just want to thank, because I want to thank everybody. There's cards coming, there's people calling, there's gifts for Ava. I can't keep up with the messages. If people don't hear back from me, I'm all day and I'm all night trying to answer the messages and keep things going here at home. And if you don't hear back from me, it's just because it's the volume of messages.
I understand. People understand that. Yeah, but you are on Facebook, so people can go there.
Yes.
And you're regularly updating and what have you.
Yeah, I'm regularly updating on my own Facebook page, Vera Twomey, and there's about actually there's 1,000 and something friend requests after coming through to my Facebook page that I can't accept because it's full. But there's another page called Hope for Ava.
That's right.
And if anybody wants to follow everything, we're on Hope for Ava as well. And now that I'm home again, I'll hopefully be able to be sharing on that more. And there's a lovely girl from Ballincollig, Diane, she's helping me with that as well. So, please just just think of her. Think of her.
Oh no, she's not. She hasn't gone out of her mind. Or we're still with you. There's a march. Actually, the Joshua Tree Bar on Blarney Street are having a night for Ava on Saturday. So there's one for you. And I'll push the march, and we'll stay in touch. I want to take some calls and texts on it, but we haven't forgotten about you. You're still in our thoughts every day.
Yeah, and there's one more thing. There was a lovely girl this morning. I got a message. She wrote a song. She's up from Buttevant. It was her sister put it up. I don't know her name yet, but she had a song written for her leaving cert, and she changed the words of the song kind of for Ava. And she's the most beautiful voice, the most beautiful girl, and it's up on my Facebook page. And do you know what? If people wanted to come on and share that as well, because do you know, wasn't it a kind thing to do?
Very kind, and I'm going to have a listen to that myself when I get off the air. But Vera...
No, they thought we were from Drumahan, but we're not. We're actually from Habollock.
Habollock, I'm proud of it. All right, okay. Stay in touch, all right? Talk soon. Take care for now. Cheers, Vera. Vera Twomey from home in Habollock, and clearly emotional, as you would be. Who wouldn't be? Going through what she's gone through for so long. We did put in a request for interview with the Chief Medical Officer at the Department of Health. We were promised an interview. At this point in time, it still has not materialised. Hopefully it will, and we can get his thoughts on this subject to get more clarity. Back after the break on 1850 104 106.